Hello again, it's me, and this is the second video in my little series of book talk videos. This is going to be about the characters, since I couldn't fit that into the first book talk video. Again, I'm going to try to make them as spoiler-free as possible. If I did individual character videos, it's probably not going to be spoiler-free. So I'm going to try to split this 10 minutes into a little bit about each of the three main characters. I guess I'm going to start with Cole. Probably because he's kind of the easiest to talk about in one sense. So, not in that he's underdeveloped, but he's kind of the most straightforward character. Lucas and Sierra both have like a lot of secrets about themselves, not so much in like a I'm going to lie about this kind of way, but just things that they either don't know about themselves or they're more ambiguous characters, and Cole is just sort of out there in the open. This is who I am and this is who I'm gonna be. I think the main thing about him is he has a very strong sense of like black and white, very black and white sense of justice, like a moral sense of this is what's wrong, this is what's right, this is the way I feel about it, and if you don't fit my moral code of right and wrong, I'm either going to not have as much respect for you, or just, you know, basically you lose points in my book, or I will pass my judgment on you whether you are a good person or a bad person. And he pretty much separates people into those two categories. Now, you might think that's like, wow, that's a little harsh. He has his reasons for thinking this way, and I do go into it in the book. Not so much in volume 1 or volume 2, but probably in the later volumes, like 3 and 4, the in-between volumes. I'm gonna go into that. It does have some stuff to do with his past, and then also like the way he was raised, but also it just has to do with his personality too, because he's a very moral-based character, and that's why he's into law enforcement, and that's his chosen profession. What was I gonna say? I knew I was gonna lose my train of thought in these videos. Oh yeah, as far as Cole, in volume 1, he's not very sympathetic, and I did that on purpose. In volume 1, I kind of wanted the reader to sort of identify more with Sierra, since she's the main character, and most of the narrative is told through her, and excerpts from her diary and whatnot. So that's mostly through her perspective. So since it is through her perspective, we kind of get a skewed vision of what Cole was really like, what his thought processes really are. I gotta check the time here. Okay, I'm gonna have to speed this up a little. But, or maybe I'll just make part 1 and part 2 of the characters. I'll probably do that. Yeah, so volume 1, he's not very sympathetic, and for volume 1, I wanted a lot of people to be kind of like, wow, he's sort of an asshole. But then that changes, and volume 2, we sort of see more of the way he's really thinking and what he's really doing and why he's doing what he's doing, and a little bit of background on like Sierra and maybe some of the things that she's telling the story. She's leaving things out and making herself seem in a better light than is really happening. And so volume 2, we sort of tend to side more with him, just on the way things are being told in the story, the events of the story. And we see more of a negative side of her. And that's pretty much all I have to say about Cole right now. I could give spoilers, but I'm not going to. That's basically the main thing about him, that really strong sense of doing the right thing, and also not just doing the right thing, but also he has a very strong desire to protect people like who can't protect themselves, like basically be the knight in shining armor, which is actually kind of ironic considering that, like, if you look at his personality traits, he really has more anti-hero traits. Like, okay, he has a lot of flaws and they're all out there in the open, but he really is the type of character who wants to do the right thing. It just doesn't always happen. And sometimes he makes some very bad decisions. But, so that's pretty much Cole. And that he's very, very honest and blunt, which is why things are out in the open. But also, he's kind of the comic relief in a sense because of that honesty. Sometimes that's sort of almost humorous how blunt he is, and like embarrassingly blunt. But also, it's interesting that he is the comic relief. On the other hand, he's also definitely the most, like, he's very angry about how the world is, pretty much. And like I said, that strong sense of moral values is part of why he's really so angry about the state of the world, and he feels like the world is just really messed up and he has to be the one to do something about it. So he takes matters into his own hands, and I'm not going to go into that. You're gonna have to read the book to find that out. See how I'm doing time. Whew! I already got 4 minutes, so I'm gonna start going into about Lucas. If I don't press too many buttons on my phone. I'm going to start talking about Lucas, and I'm going to stop, and I'm going to make a part 2 about the second half of about him, and then also about Sierra. I'm saving her for last because she's definitely the most complicated character, also contradicting, and just hardest to go into. But, Lucas is, there's a lot of things I could say about him. He's kind of in a lot of ways the simplest character. He's the easiest to understand. Like, you really get a very clear sense of what motivates him as a person, and these are his goals in life, and these are the way he behaves, and there's just very obvious, you know, reasons and just motivations for what he's doing. He's not too, like, emotionally damaged or, like, psychologically. He's very, very, well, one of the things that I mentioned, he actually says in the story is that he has a good head on his shoulders, and that's the way people describe him when they talk about him, and that's a really good way to say it. He's very calm, cool, and collected. He's the level-headed one. He's extremely smart, and, he is a very good, like, mediator. He's usually always the one in the middle of things, especially in the story. And he likes to mediate. He likes to listen to people more than actually say things. He will be there in the background listening and listening and listening, and he'll be eavesdropping, and you know, but he never really is usually the one to come out to the front and say what's on his mind so much. I'm running out of time, so I'm going to continue in the next video with him, and then I'm going to talk about Sierra, and I hope I'll see you then. If I ever find the button to turn this off. Woo! Okay, here we go with part 2 of the character video. I'm still talking about Lucas, who I'm really getting ripped up by my phone. People need to stop calling me. Anyway, this is about Lucas, who happens to be my favorite character. But anyway, as I was saying, I'm not terribly picky. I do love all my characters. Just, I'm slightly biased sometimes. But anyway, one of the really important things that I didn't go into about him is sort of how Cole and Sierra are more of these, like, internal conflict, big, you know, emotional issues characters. He is more of a, like, just, hey, I'm really happy, and, you know, he's very just content with himself and the world around him, and just sort of the way he sees the world is very positive, and he's sort of the light in